On November 24th, 1971, a man in a dark suit, sunglasses, and a calm smile boarded a routine flight from Portland to Seattle. He ordered a bourbon and soda. He lit a cigarette. And before the plane ever landed, he became the most famous unidentified criminal in American history. This is the story of D.B. Cooper, the man who hijacked a plane, stole $200,000, and vanished into the night, never to be seen again. It was the day before Thanksgiving, one of the busiest travel days of the year. Flight 305, a Boeing 727 operated by Northwest Orient Airlines, was only supposed to be in the air for about 30 minutes. Among the 36 passengers was a man who identified himself as Dan Cooper. He looked ordinary, mid-40s, about 6 feet tall, neatly dressed in a black suit and tie. Nothing about him stood out. Shortly after takeoff, Cooper handed a note to a flight attendant named Florence Schaffner. At first, she ignored it, assuming it was just another phone number from a hopeful traveler, but Cooper leaned in and calmly said,
"Miss, you'd better read that note. I have a bomb."
Inside the briefcase on his lap, Cooper showed her wires and red cylinders. Whether it was real or not didn't matter. Everyone believed him. Cooper wasn't panicked. He wasn't angry. In fact, he was incredibly polite. His demands were precise: $200,000 in cash, 4 parachutes, 2 main and 2 reserve A fuel truck waiting on the runway in Seattle. No tricks, no heroics. He warned that if his instructions weren't followed, he would detonate the bomb. The pilot relayed the message to air traffic control. The FBI was notified. And instead of storming the plane, authorities did something unusual. They complied. As the plane circled Seattle for hours, Cooper remained calm. He ordered another drink. He even tipped the flight attendant and thanked her for her help. Passengers had no idea what was happening. To them, it was just a delay. When the plane finally landed in Seattle, the money and parachutes were delivered. Cooper allowed all passengers to leave, every single one. That's important. He never hurt anyone, never raised his voice, never panicked. Now alone with a small flight crew, Cooper prepared for the second and final phase of his plan. Cooper ordered the plane to take off again, heading south toward Mexico City. He gave extremely specific flight instructions: fly low, keep the cabin unpressurized, maintain a slow speed. This wasn't guesswork. Cooper clearly knew aircraft mechanics, especially the Boeing 727. Somewhere over the forests of southwestern Washington, in heavy rain, strong winds, and total darkness, D.B. Cooper did something no one had ever done before. He opened the rear stairway of the plane and jumped. With $200,000 strapped to his body, Cooper vanished into the night sky. When the plane landed safely hours later, he was gone. What followed was one of the largest and most expensive investigations in FBI history. Agents searched dense forests, rivers, and mountains. They interviewed hundreds of suspects, pilots, paratroopers, criminals, regular citizens, but they found nothing. No body, no parachute, no trace of Cooper. For years, the FBI believed he must have died during the jump. The weather was brutal. The terrain was unforgiving. The odds were terrible. But then, something strange happened. In 1980, 9 years after the hijacking, a young boy digging along the Columbia River found something buried in the sand. It was cash, $5,800 in decaying $20 bills. When serial numbers were checked, they matched the ransom money given to Cooper. This discovery raised terrifying questions. If Cooper died, how did the money get there? If he survived, why only some of the cash? And why was there no other evidence? Over the decades, dozens of suspects have been proposed. Military veterans, skydivers, engineers, even a college professor. One of the most famous suspects, Richard McCoy, committed a similar hijacking months later. But timelines and physical descriptions didn't match. The truth is, no suspect has ever been conclusively proven. Even the name D.B. Cooper is wrong. It came from a journalist's mistake. The hijacker never used that name at all. And in 2016, after 45 years of searching, the FBI officially closed the case. Unsolved. So what really happened to D.B. Cooper? There are only three possibilities. He died during the jump and was never found. He survived but lost the money. He survived and got away clean. The most chilling idea? That Cooper returned to a normal life, that he watched the story unfold on the news, that he smiled every time someone said the jump was impossible. D.B. Cooper didn't just steal money. He stole certainty. He exposed a crack in modern security. He embarrassed authorities. And he did it without violence, without chaos, and without ever being caught. To this day, he remains the only unsolved skyjacker in U.S. history. And somewhere, maybe, there was a man who once jumped out of a plane with a briefcase full of cash and never told a soul. The question isn't who D.B. Cooper was. It's whether he's still out there, or if the forest keeps his secret forever.